Well, thank you very much for joining us today in this webinar we've put together for the real estate industry. And especially we're going to talk about the energy efficiency and also how the carbon footprint is impacting this important industry in our world. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Daniel Spence. I am the account executive for the international market for DEXMA. And Irene, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. I'm Irene from the customer success team. I'm the customer success lead, and I'll be together with Danny presenting this webinar. Thank you all for joining.
Great, thank you, Irene. Thank you, Irene. Well, as you can see here in this agenda, we're just gonna speak a little bit briefly about the context, right, and the business needs of this market right now. And also we're going to talk about how this market really should understand and manage all the energy consumption, right? Because with just a single software, with just a single monitoring platform, there should be savings between 4 to 20%. Then also we're going to talk about the benchmarking and the recommendations that DEXMA will give you from this for the whole real estate industry or the market that you might have. And also we're going to move forward onto the energy efficiency performance, right? Which the improvement that myself, I'm going to speak about how the artificial intelligence supports all this automatic process to detect the main anomalies in order to save more energy. And then at the end, we're going to leave some time for the Q&A. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of insight about DEXMA, where we are right now in the world. So right now we're working with more than 10,000 organizations right across the world and more than 1 million real data points, right? A data point is a variable that a meter measures, right? And then we also do work with more than 180 active partners across the world, right? In more than 30 different countries. As you can see here on the screen, we are working with main real estate and building companies such as the government of Spain, for example, the top 2 banks of Spain and top 5 of Europe, such as CaixaBank and Santander. And we also work with BNP Paribas and also Merlin Properties in Spain and Cashman and Wakefield. Now, it's really important here to know that the impact, with all this impact of sustainability of investment returns increasing, right? We do believe that sustainable investing is the strongest foundation right now for the client portfolios that are looking to go forward and move forward with this, right? Of course, the evidence on climate risk is compelling to investors, right? To reassess the core assumptions about the modern finance nowadays. Well, as you can see here, it is a quote by the CEO of BlackRock, right? And previously, the past year, they announced several initiatives to place sustainability at the center of their investment approach, right? So they decided that they wanted to include the making of sustainability to be the integral to portfolio construction, right, and risk management, which was, of course, exciting investment that present a high sustainability-related risk, right? Such as, for example, the thermal coal producers launching new investment products that screen fossil fuels, right, or strengthening their commitment to sustainability and transparency in their investment stewardship activities, right? This is just one case from BlackRock. Now, what are the main real estate industry challenges nowadays, right? So the top current challenges that we find right now are understand the energy consumption, right, and reduce energy bills. Of course, you're not going to reduce your energy bills if you're not able to understand the data that you're getting, right? Because overall, right now, nowadays, the more data you have, the less you understand, right? That's where DEXMA comes in. Another part will be increase the portfolio site-wide value also by being sustainable, right? So real estate is well known for having a wide portfolio, a big portfolio of several buildings across different facilities or locations, right? So this is difficult to manage, right, and monitor. But of course, DEXMA is the right solution in this case to achieve sustainability for this case. And then also, of course, supports the ESG goals, right? How? Well, by reporting achieving certifications like the ISO 50001 and comply with the legislation from specific governments, country governments, or also the European government. Now, I wanted also to start with, of course, the news that we're seeing right now across the world, but especially across Europe, and especially right now with all the macroeconomic situation that we're living in. As you can see here, energy bills are soaring a lot in major countries of Europe, right? Government, investors, and also the public have become increasingly committed to reaching net zero emissions by 2050, and this is a thing we all know, right? And this ambition intends to mitigate the worst potential effects of climate change, right? How? By limiting the warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels in this case. So I also, as you can see, there is a study by the Bank of England, right? And they also showed that high emitting properties saw reductions in value after climate policies were enacted, right? Which means real estate market actors, right, from large industrial investors to little homeowners, right, are experiences and expressing a preference for sustainable assets, right? So it's important to have this shift in mindset and mentality to reflect the concerns about high emitting properties increasing costs and the diminished desirability among the climate conscious. Here we can see more news, right? It's important to highlight that with buildings being responsible for approximately 40% of energy consumption and 36% of CO2 emissions. That says a lot right now. And especially we have to mention that 70% are produced by building operations, right? So the SFDR, as you can see in the first paragraph, which is the Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation, right? It's a European regulation that introduced to improve transparency in the market for sustainable investment products, right? To also prevent greenwashing, which you'll see right here in the next slide from Milbank, right? It's important to prevent greenwashing and increase transparency around sustainability claims, right? Which is gonna make the whole market, the whole real estate market, more appealing for financial investors too. Right now we have here another slide, which it's just outstanding that you can see just 9% of the total surveyed companies, right? And there are millions of companies across Europe. Of course, this survey didn't interview all of them, but it's incredible to see that 9% of this company are just using a software that supports data collection, right? To analyze, monitor, and report in order to achieve the ESG goals, which is unbelievable. Now, where do we start? Right now that we've seen the macroeconomic situation, politics, and also the price regarding the energy bills, let's start a little bit by the energy intelligence journey with DEXMA, right? What is DEXMA really is? So let's start first with analyze. Analyze, of course, we are gonna need, as you can see here, the three main products that we have at DEXMA, right? We have seen the impact of energy prices on geopolitical space across Europe, right? And we have market regulation pressure among us, among many different verticals and markets, but especially real estate, to align reporting and transparency in the sector, right? So let's start by what we can control, right? As I mentioned before, 40% of the energy consumption comes from buildings, and approximately 70% of emission come from buildings operations, right? So let's start and focus where we have to invest, right? Which is detect, right? Detect is gonna prevent on-site energy audits, right? And it's gonna detect energy efficiency potential across the portfolio of facilities or buildings that you do have, right? Just when we have all these lists by the huge benchmark that the artificial intelligence of Detect has done, right? We're gonna pass it on to analyze, right? And we're gonna start extracting value from the consumption data, right? So we can understand the consumption, we can see the dashboards, we can see also the forecast, we can calculate the baseline, we can download reports, etc. Right? So analyze is pretty much real-time energy data analytics, right? That measures electricity, energy, water, vapor, gas, etc. Now, once we have focused where to invest and how we capture data and how we monitor that data in real time, we're gonna move in how to maintain and improve that data that we have, right? So let's start using AI to get data-driven insights about our savings opportunities across the portfolio, right? So this artificial intelligence is gonna help you to support the energy efficiency improvements in your portfolio, right? So optimize pretty much an artificial intelligence anomaly detection. Now, let's see and how can we understand and manage your energy consumption in this case, right? Let's start with trying to unlock, as we say here in the title of this slide, the access to data, right? Every single building has a main meter, every single meter in the world, right? So most likely a smart metering will provide 15-minute readings. Of course, in DEXMA, we support 10-minute reading, 30-minute reading, but the average and most common and 99% that we do use is 15-minute readings. Now, we have more than 500 native integrations, where hardware agnostic is one of the main things that differentiate us from the other EMSs outside. We do not marry with any single hardware brand, right? We always adapt to the client in this case. Also, you're going to be able to discover your energy consumption profile by gaining visibility through the data that you're going to get. And also the key points are that technology should be flexible and open to let you use your data, right? In this case, which is a thing that DEXMA allow you to do. And last, also, the EMS DEXMA shall be flexible enough to support and its data integration no matter the source you have, right? We support data integration either if you have the data in a cloud or the data through a main meter. Now, it's also important to gain visibility and understand your consumption profiles, right? It's important to get insight through user-friendly interfaces. There are many softwares out there which are really difficult to understand, which has many data and difficult to see, right? I'm not clear. In DEXMA, as you can see, clear is going to be straightforward, direct, and simple as clear as that, right? You're also going to be able to monitor the impact of your behaviors or retrofits in this case, right? And also you're going to use the value of your data to direct and achieve savings from between 4% to 20%, right? Having an impact in saved cost and CO2. Now, this analyze, as I mentioned before, and we keep going with analyze, which is the pretty much as the benchmark we've done across Europe. It's pretty much the main tool that real estate industry will benefit from, clearly. Now, a clear pathway today is to embrace renewables, right? Whether by consuming green electricity, but also by producing our own self-energy, right? So self-consumption with PV cells is a proven solution with excellent results and return over investments, right? And of course, a high impact when it comes to emissions reduction. So it has ROI, return over investment, reduction in cost, and reduction in emissions. And now also, with the huge rise in the market, especially in the UK with the EV chargers, of course, we were not gonna be less. So we have added this feature within the software, right? So market demand and building regulations require some asset modernizations, such as adding EV charging stations to the assets, right? To these assets, right? So having everything within the same platform, it's going to allow you for capturing and reporting valuable information all in the same place, within the same display, featuring options such as promoting portfolios adapted to EV mobility and facilitated adoption for smart apps to prioritize energy demand when it's more convenient in this case. And then, of course, it's important to track the consumption of your energy, right? You can track your emissions and include some other information on waste and business activities to complete your emissions reporting to scope 1, 2, or even 3, as per the GHG protocols that we have right now in Europe, right? So we do know that it's key to have tools to ease and automate how you can allocate your utility carbon emissions factors to your consumption, right? So you can get your emissions tracking and calculations at site level and at your portfolio level totally in automatic, right? Everything. So also it's important right now to take a look at the carbon reduction pathways, correct? So far we have seen how we're tracking our real consumption, including historical data and our carbon intensity at site and portfolio level, right? But we can then know which of our assets have a higher carbon intensity or need to be reduced by comparing assets across our portfolio, right? So we can also define targets and define path to achieve those different targets that we're going to have, right? So we're going to be able to use these charts and baselines to monitor our performance by comparing our actual data against the target reference that we have. Just to mention and to remember, there are different GHG protocols that I mentioned before, the Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3. But just to refresh you, Scope 1 is all direct emissions from activities of an organization or under their control, right? Including, for example, fuel combustion on site, such as gas boilers, fleet vehicles, and air conditioning. That's regarding Scope 1. Scope 2 would be indirect emissions from electricity purchased and used by the organizations, right? This would be emissions that are created during the production of the energy and eventually used by the organization. And Scope 3 will be all other indirect emissions from activities of the organization, right? Occurring from sources that they do not own or neither control, right? But actually, these are usually the greatest share of carbon footprint because they cover emissions associated with business travel, procurement, waste, and water. So I hope I left that clear, the different GHG protocols. Now, let's talk about the reporting and how important it is to have these features within software. Of course, there's so much data that we're going to gather, so much information, but at the end of the day, the key person, the key people from the company needs to have a clear reporting with clear insights and briefings of the information that they're getting, the data, right? So we have many different reports, limited reports within the software, and also customized reports, right? And everything can be customized, as I mentioned, right? So everything can be scheduled for tenant billing, ISO 50001 reporting, MMV reporting, measure and verification reporting, ESG reporting, custom corporate reporting, right? And in addition to this, we can create live dashboards as you have right here. Now, when it comes to reporting, it will be great to have easy to use and flexible tools to create dashboards ad hoc without coding or using complex BI tools, right? So we have it right here as you're looking at it right now. You're not gonna need coding. You're not gonna need to use Power BI tools, nothing. As simple as you see it right here. And you can customize it yourself, but just even drag it within the software. Now, just imagine having a drag and drop, as I just mentioned, tool to do it, right? And it take the most advantage of your data just by creating live dashboards, right? So you can have just your right KPIs, your right key performance indicators at a glance, right? Even from your mobile or without installing another app in this case. Now I'd like to give the word to Irene, that she'll explain the energy efficiency benchmark and recommendations. So Irene, all yours.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you. So now let's continue with the energy and energy intelligence journey. So let's now see how AI and big data can let you know which of your buildings are good or bad at energy efficiency, okay, and therefore have a high carbon footprint, so that you can focus on those with more savings potential. Okay, for that, well, nowadays technology allows you to detect your energy efficiency potential and get recommendations to achieve them. So in DEXMA, we already have the data, so it's just a matter of using it, right? We can run virtual energy audits and compare your building to existing databases with similar buildings. And using artificial intelligence, we can get an energy efficiency score from 0 to 100 and compare these results to peer averages and to best in class. Okay, So this will allow us to get recommendations according to consumptions and asset types. Okay, so be ready to focus your investments based on the evidence. If you can go to the next slide, Danny, thank you. Okay, so basically, how can we show that, right? If you enable your portfolio level vision, you can discover your portfolio energy efficiency potential. How can we do that? Getting your energy efficiency score, so the total energy efficiency score, or by building, get the whole list of assets, each with an energy efficiency score, and start focusing on those assets with higher energy and emission intensity to take actions based on the evidence. Okay. So how can you identify the key efficiency opportunities? By filtering your portfolio by attributes or energy insights or actionable measures. What does this mean? So filtering by attributes, you can filter with for example, surface or reference temperature. Filtering by energy insights, that would be filtering by the consumption patterns or your efficiency score. And finally, filtering by actionable measures, you can identify the locations that could improve their energy consumption pattern by investing on specific retrofits. Okay, in this way, you can focus based on the locations that consume more, the ones with the worst energy efficiency score, or based on the type of recommendation that you want to invest in, perhaps because you can benefit from subventions or other things. Okay, so this would be DTECT, and DTECT is able to provide you with top recommendations and tips every month. You can focus on those with CapEx and OpEx that are of your interests. And some of these recommendations that we can provide are virtual audits retrofits that require investment with hourly data, for example, photovoltaic, avoid standby consumptions, improve energy behavior. There are other recommendations like complementary retrofits to learn more about the benefits of making an investment. There are behavior retrofits to improve the energy behavior, like, for example, change the day and hour of your consumption, and other standard tips to become more efficient. So, like, for example, reduce your heating temperature in 1 degree. Like that will mean 7% of savings, indoor air quality, ask for grants, etc. So, so now I will lead the word to Danny again. I think you're on mute, Danny.
Correct. Thank you, Rene. Well, this technology, sometimes we have hard time understanding it. So yeah, thank you, Rene. So right now, what I'm going to talk is how AI supports automatic anomaly detection to help you focus on what really matters the most, right? So we're going to tackle the challenges for the facility managers that we have today, and we've seen from the different benchmark that we've done. Also the drive savings, and also how to manage huge amount of data. Now, first thing, let's take a look at this table, right? So we have, in a traditional way, usually in real estate, it is more common. We have a specific amount of members within a team required to gather the data manually, right, on a monthly basis, right? So let's say, for example, for an average company with 50 sites, right, and 500 data points, they will need 3 people manually getting this data, right? But if we move to bigger companies, to 5,000 numbers of sites, which is usually a mid-big size real estate company, they'll need between 30 and 50 people to get this data. While using DEXMA Optimize, it'll mean that it'll be just 3 to 5 in this case, right? That's amazing how the artificial intelligence works. So let's see here how it really, and what really is DEXMA Analyze and Optimize, right? So you're gonna be able to see your economical impact, right? You're gonna be able to spot your anomaly sources automatically, right? Identify the source of each of the anomalies consumption, right? Also, you're gonna see the anomalies traceability, right? You're gonna be able to add comments and get the traceability from another anomaly creation, right? Until it's fixed in this case. Also, the cross data context is gonna be also automatically, right? You're gonna get the visibility on potential related parameters to the detected anomaly, right? It's gonna be working 24/7, working hours of working hours and weekends, right? You're also gonna see, as you can see in this graph, the red line is gonna be an anomaly. But of course, if you predicted that anomaly because it was supposed to be, for example, a Christmas dinner, or it was or some special event at the building on a Saturday morning, which is supposed to be holiday for everyone, you can click on I understand this anomaly. I predicted it because it wasn't all of a sudden, it wasn't a problem. It was an anomaly. It was something that we planned it was going to happen. That is why the kilowatt hour consumption spiked in that case, right? So this is a really important thing to take into account. Now, how do we go from a reactive to a proactive mode, right? So daily anomalies will show in the dashboard, right? Fresh daily, every single day, a list of anomalies detected automatically by the artificial intelligence. And it's gonna list it, the anomalies, depending on the impact and the reliability of that anomaly, high, medium, and low. How is it gonna categorize the impact? Well, it can categorize it either money-wise, from most expensive to the cheapest one, or either consumption-wise in kilowatt hours, for example. Now, with this, you're gonna learn from historical data, AI algorithms, right? You're gonna learn your consumption behavior. From 3 to 12 months are usually needed for this to happen, right? Also, we can also add weather and calendar adjustment algorithms, right? To adjust their outputs based on either weather, local holidays, or any other variables that are gonna be available. So what are the conclusions after all of this we've seen so far? Well, main conclusions will be it's a data-driven energy efficiency software, of course. Data stones the path to energy efficiency, right? And companies have the key role to ensure the data availability. Companies need to know that they have the data, they understand the data, and they have to do something with that data, take key action with that data once they monitor and visualize it, right? And also, they gotta rely on that data, right, to boost the energy efficiency, right? You cannot rely any data gathering, let's say, platform or tool, all right? It has to be backed up with important certifications across Europe right now, right? Also, savings on the TCO2 reductions, right? You have to avoid figures, important figures regarding the energy consumption, regarding money-wise, regarding kilowatt hours, and also, of course, this is gonna lead to reduction in cost and be more sustainable, and also even apply to more grants. And also, last conclusion would be assets value is more than ever linked to how sustainable your portfolio is, right? So using the data and technology seems to be the basic recipe right now to companies to truly shift into energy efficiency. They are aware of this, but they do not know this. As I showed you at the beginning, only 9% of companies across Europe, they are already using a tool to tackle these problems and to achieve their sustainability levels, right? So we have to increase the awareness and to start taking action, to start tackling the goals by 2030, then 2040, and then 2050. We already have companies, real estate companies, helping them to achieve these decades goals. So I would like to thank you very much for attending the webinar. But first of all, I think we have a couple of questions here. Let me see. There's a person that it's asking, how do I send data to the platform? Well, thank you very much, John. Well, it's pretty simple how to send data to the platform. There are two options, right? Either if you have the data stored in a cloud, or you have in a data source, right? The platform DEXMA supports multiple data entries in different protocols and formats, right? Either through automatic or manual processes initiated by the user in this case, right? So, for example, either if you have the data available in a cloud solution, or if you have it installed in data sources in your installation, there are two options. Either through API, right? The data will be automatic be shipped through the insertion API, right? Where the data logger or the gateway or the external system is going to perform regular calls via HTTPS using the JSON format with real-time data from the meters, right? A second option will be via FTP email, right? Same, the data will be shipped automatically through FTP email via CSV files in this case, right? So every sensor will start sending data following a different format, right? So this will also allow to give the user a flow. For example, check if the sensors follow a format already integrated with a platform with DEXMA, right? Check also if you can adapt your sensors format to an existing format, right? Or also if you see any option is possible, you can also, of course, our operations team is going to help you with every single thing regarding the support provider, so they can adapt your sensors format. So everything is possible in order to start sending data. Well, thank you. I hope that answered your question, John. Well, I think we've just passed the time, and anyhow, you have here our emails, and please check this QR code, which I believe you'll enjoy what you're gonna find after this, and I believe it's gonna be quite interesting, and for us also to gather more insights about your feedback from this webinar. And also you have here our emails from Irene and from myself. Please reach out to us if you have any other questions, or you'd like to learn more, or if you even would like to see a live demo of the platform. Irene, you wanna close this?
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you, Danny, for hosting this webinar, and thank you all for coming to the webinar.
Well, I wish you all a great day, and hopefully we see each other soon. Bye.
Bye.